Hey beautiful yogis, my name is Grace from Beautiful Yoga, and I thought I'd just jump on today to talk a little bit about my yoga journey so far. I have been practicing, and I mentioned this in another video, a little over 6 years now consistently, but yoga has actually been in my life since I was about 16 years old. So my very first introduction was, I think I was in grade 11 or grade 10. I was a dancer. I did contemporary, I did hip hop, I did jazz, and when I was a lot younger I did ballet and then just a very little bit of ballroom dancing. So movement has always been a very big part of my life. So when I was in grade 10 or grade 11, before each dance class at school, our dance teacher would get us to do a stretch class. So I don't know that it was necessarily yoga, but that's what I first was introduced to, this idea of stretching the body. My initial reaction, very boring, too slow, definitely not my thing. I was very impatient to just get moving and learn the choreography and just do the dance part of the class. I wanted to skip the stretching. But there was something in it. As bored as I was and uninterested in the whole idea of stretching the body, it was still movement. So cut to after high school, I didn't really do much of it. It wasn't until I was at uni again that I went to literally less than a handful of classes, and every now and then I would jump online, even though there wasn't really a lot online on yoga. I read a couple of books about it and I would just do kind of random stretching, but not really a consistent practice. And then it wasn't until after my third daughter, Alana, was born that I felt like I had ticked a lot of boxes in my life in relation to the work that I was doing and the relationship that I had with my husband and my 3 children. It felt like tick, 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 but I still had this feeling of unfulfillment and this feeling of what's next, and feeling itchy in my toes again of ticking those boxes. And what I came to realize was that I wasn't really looking after myself. I didn't really know what that meant or what that looked like. And then something inside me was like, hey, I used to do this thing randomly called yoga, and I remember feeling relaxed, I remember feeling good. Let me do that. So from there, I signed up to a course. It was 6 weeks, an hour-long practice each week on a Tuesday night at the local school. My teacher's name, I can't remember her name, but it was really an introduction to yoga. So very beginners. And what I really appreciated about it was like this feeling of coming home. And being a working mum, 3 kids, it felt like heaven, having this time and this space on my mat just for me. And it really felt like coming home. And after that, I really felt like everyone needs to do this, and how selfish of me if I don't share this with everyone that I know. And so I started my Instagram account just to kind of share about my journey so far. And if you scroll all the way down into my feed, you can see it dates as far back as 2015. And then from there, I continued my classes with my teacher. I then moved to a local gym with another instructor who was amazing for my yoga journey. And then I wanted to explore some of the more advanced asanas that I had seen online and that I was inspired by. And that then brought me to a studio which was at least 30-40 minutes away from home. And then after attending a few of their workshops and their classes consistently, I had heard that they were doing a teacher training, and I went, yes please. And even before that, I had done the teacher training. I had been given a few opportunities to teach family and friends. And then I had a friend of a friend who owned a yoga studio who asked if I could cover. And my very first teaching experience, the very beautiful instructor at the time had said, hey, come along. I'll teach the first class, you teach the second class, so you can just get comfortable with yourself. And I came along and I trusted that I was going to do I was going to attend her class first, when she surprised me with, actually, you're teaching both. And I just remember being so nervous. I remember not making eye contact with any of the students. I remember sweating and demonstrating every single posture because I didn't want to look around. There were 0 adjustments to be made. I can't tell if any of my cues really made any sense. But at the end of the first class, it was like this huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I felt like, okay, I've done it. That's the worst that it can get. Everything else from here will be smooth sailing. Hasn't always been like that, but taking that first step was probably the hardest bit. From there, I just really put myself out there, asking around, and even throughout my teacher training, I was volunteering, I was teaching for free, and I'll talk more about my teacher training in a separate video. But when I first started, there was a lot of you've got to do the time. So one of my very first regular gigs, I would have to drive over an hour to the other side of Brisbane to teach yoga, but I took whatever I could, even if it meant being paid less than what the industry standard was. I don't always recommend that, but again, I was in the mindset of hustle. Let me put myself out there, let me teach for free. Sometimes I would teach for yoga pants. Again, not against it, but I don't recommend it in the long run. So cut to where I am now. This is what I do all day, every day. It's how I make the majority of my living. And I dedicate my work to spreading the word about yoga, particularly to women, especially because I found myself in a space of not taking care of my body, not taking care of my mind or my soul, which is what I crave most. And now I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm on the right journey, and I want to help you do the same thing. I hope that was helpful. Hit me up with any questions that you have, and stay tuned for all my other videos. Yogis, thank you so much for tuning into my video all about my yoga journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to go ahead and check out my Instagram at Teale Yoga, I can answer any questions there. And then you can also reach me at my website, yogajourney.com, where I have a contact me page and I can get back to you that way. If you're keen to learn more about yoga, I have an ebook which I'll link down below, and that'll show you all the different standing, the seated, and the forward fold asanas. And then of course, if you want to work with me directly, I do have just a couple of spots left in my one-on-one Zoom classes. And again, you can find that in the link below. Thank you so much, yogis. Stay safe. Chat soon. Namaste.